My name is Carol Cunningham. I am the chair and co-founder of Fair Districts PA. We began in January 2016 to address gerrymandering in Pennsylvania. We knew it was a problem. We didn't know how bad a problem it was, and we thought maybe we could fix it. We didn't know how difficult it would be to fix it. Gerrymandering is manipulation of electoral maps for partisan or personal benefit. The word comes from 1812 when Governor Elbridge Gerry of Massachusetts approved a map that gave advantage to his party. The Democratic Republicans was the name of the party, but the map he approved, there was a district that looked like a salamander. So the press of his day went crazy about that, publishing pictures of that weird salamander-shaped district. And they came up with the name of the gerrymander, taking his last name and attaching it to salamander. And so manipulation of district maps has been called gerrymandering ever since 1812. Gerrymandering has been around since before 1812, but what has happened in the last several decades is mapping technology and data mining technology. So it used to be done with, they'd spread a map out on a desk and they'd stick some tacks in where the legislators were who they wanted to benefit, and then they would draw the maps with a pencil to give some advantage to those legislators. They also would draw people off the map, people they didn't like. They would see where they were and then draw districts that would make it more difficult for those people to run, or even draw those people out of their districts. So it's been done for a long time, but recently, think about what you can do with the map on your phone now. The mapping technology is incredibly different than it used to be, and data mining technology. So there's lots of data available about voter registration, about how voter trends, about people's education, their income. So the people who draw the maps can predict with incredible accuracy how a particular block will vote, how a particular housing project will vote, and they've been able to divide voters with surgical precision to give themselves the benefit. So they can pretty much lock in advantage for themselves and for the incumbents that they want, and they can pretty much lock out the opposition and the voters that they don't want. So it takes away voter choice, takes away the power of our vote, makes it incredibly difficult to vote out legislators who are not listening to the public. It creates completely unaccountable government, so it's extremely dangerous to democracy. Each state has its own processes for drawing congressional maps. Those are the people that get elected to the House of Representatives and get sent off to DC. And then each state has its own process for drawing its state House and Senate maps. In Pennsylvania, the congressional maps are done as a bill. The bill is given, somebody draws a map. It's not going to be a legislator, it'll be a map consultant who will do the work behind the scenes and then hand a map to the state legislative leaders, and they'll introduce it as a bill, and that bill will get passed by the Pennsylvania House and Senate and then signed by the governor. The truth is everybody is affected by gerrymandering. Some people like to look at it as one party against the other. So of course the party that's not in power, the party that doesn't get to draw the map, they just get pushed aside. So even though in Pennsylvania the Democratic Party tends to have slightly more people registered and slightly more people vote, in the last two rounds of redistricting, the Republican Party had the upper hand because there was a Republican majority in the state Supreme Court. So in other words, it puts one party in a very strong position and makes the other party completely irrelevant. So figure half of the people in Pennsylvania then have no voice at all. They have no way of getting anything done. But even those legislators who are on the majority party, the leaders are the only ones who have any power. The leaders are the ones who draw the maps. The leaders are the ones who can draw people off the map if they don't do what the leaders say. The leaders control the legislative agenda. They control everything. So in effect, it takes democracy and turns it on its head and says, nobody here has a voice except for a very small handful of legislative leaders. And the rest of you, we don't really care what you think. It's not going to happen. I would say that many people get involved in one issue and they work really hard on one issue and then they wonder why nothing happens. So it doesn't, climate change is one that lots of Folks are interested in thinking, why can't we do anything about this? Gun control is another one, gun safety laws. There are really good gun safety laws introduced in every session, and the chair of the committee where they're introduced says, we're not going to look at them. Less than 7% of the bills introduced in Harrisburg right now ever get passed, and that's because the leadership isn't interested. So I would say whatever your issue is, that's important, but nothing changes until gerrymandering changes. And so we encourage people to say, follow the issue that interests you, but also look at foundational change, because if the system isn't listening to you and your vote doesn't matter, you're not going to be able to change those other things. Nothing changes until this changes.